Buenos dias. Buenas tardes. So I woke up this morning and it suddenly occurred to me, because of what we were talking about yesterday, what I was talking about. I've been messaging Brian Cox and Mr. Cox, Mr. Neil deGrasse Tyson, Brian Green, and Joe Rogan as well, with 4 of them. I'm going to do it again. Now, the reason why, Joe Rogan, because I know he likes his conspiracy theories. Listen, this is a monster because it's the speed of light. Relativity. It's a lot of stuff, okay? Including the age of the universe, including light years. None of it can coexist in a universe where the solar eclipses play out like they do here. Because during a solar eclipse, this is very, very, very clear-cut case of the prosecution. Are we? Yes, hang on. Are we the prosecution? We're accusing. Well, we're not the defendants because we're not being accused of anything. We kind of are accusing them. Yes, we are. We are the prosecution. Porky pies, isn't it? It's porky pies. It's tea break time with lots and lots of little porky pies, isn't it? Right, what we have here is a surface, legs, and a stick standing on top of it. Anybody who's been watching my shenanigans might have gone, oh, I bet it's that. Well, it is. It's the stick that we use for demonstrating how obvious it is that the sun radiates absolute light. Look at that bang. Look at that. That is coming off of a mirror, by the way. Okay, it's coming. The sun is straight up there. Right. It's banging down onto that mirror that's behind the stick, and then bouncing onto the stick and into the board in the shed, and we were at the end of it. And we were seeing the absolute light from the sun. Now, how do we know the sun's light is absolute? Well, because, let me just do this so I can see. It's really quite bright out here in this absolute sunlight. How do we know that there is no delay? Because every time an object is casting the sun's like its shadow because of the sun's light, that object and the sun and the shadow will all be perfectly in line. That means that if the sun is directly behind the object that is casting the shadow, there is no delay. There are no photons traveling. This stick is not blocking photons. This stick is blocking the absolute light radiating from the light source. That's what the stick is doing. It hasn't taken any photons, any time to travel from anywhere, because the photons are still in the box. The box is locked and it hasn't even left the factory. That's the only truth about the photons. In fact, the factory hasn't even been made. It's going to make the photons. That's how far away photons are from being a thing. It does not matter how big the object. It does not matter how far it is from the sun, and it does not matter how far you are from the sun. If anything gets in between the sun and your eyesight, it's always going to have perfect trajectory of it being your eyesight, the object, and the sun. One straight line. There is no delay whatsoever. If the sun turned off right now, bang, darkness and cold. If it turned back on, boom, light and warm. Instantly. That mirror is now bouncing onto my culo, and it's making my culo escorcho. You know what I'm saying? Right. during a solar eclipse, this is important, all the joking and all the laughing, there's been too much of the laughing and the joking and not enough of the logical answers coming from the... It's not a prosecution versus a defense. It's common sense versus science, isn't it? It isn't logical to think that there is a delay coming from the sun ever at any time, because during a solar eclipse, when the moon is directly in front of the sun, as seen from the sweet spot on planet Earth, there is a straight line, the center of the sweet spot, through the center of the moon shadow, through the center of the moon, and obviously through the center of the sun, because it is perfectly seen surrounding the moon as the sun's corona. This is where the common sense kind of takes over. You cannot be standing in the shadow that is being cast by photons that have been traveling for 8 minutes and 20 seconds at the same time as seeing the light source that radiated those photons 8 minutes and 20 seconds earlier, because basically you're seeing both the result of the photons and the launcher of the photons. So where is the delay? Listen, you can paint this any color you want. You can come up with all the silly questions and try to sidetrack as much as you want. This is very basic stuff. It's common sense. It's basic common sense. If you have a light source and something steps in between that light source and your eyesight and it casts a shadow, if that shadow is directly in line with the actual light source, there is no delay. Basic common sense. Science cannot explain this. And it isn't good enough to say science doesn't care about your common sense, because my common sense really doesn't care about your science not caring about my common sense. It really doesn't, because this is an insult to people's intelligence. It's a big deal. Now let's look at a lunar eclipse. So forget the sun being on the other side of the moon. You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to turn the sun off. Because my cooler was getting a scorcher. Right. I keep saying, there's a good looking guy. And it's fucking me in the mirror, isn't it? Oh, I thought that was a bit strange. Right, now, forget the left-hand side of this picture. I mean, when I say left, I mean this part. It's all sunlight. The moon finds itself on the opposite side, right? We find ourselves in between the sun and the moon. We had it just a month ago or something. I was up on the roof and luckily caught the tail end of it. Now, ladies and gentlemen, flat Earth or round Earth, that is not my concern. I'm sure that the flat Earth has its theory for how these things work. I'm teaching it the way I thought I knew, which is the round Earth. I'm not saying that it's not flat. I think I've pretty much made that clear by now, right? This isn't about that for me. But I'd love to tackle that. I daren't throw myself full force into that one, because it will water down the absurdity of the Egyptians building the pyramids and photons. So I've got to stick to these two until they're nutted out. We find ourselves in between the sun and the moon, right? There is no delay whatsoever. The sun is smacking the back of the planet, right? So during the night, when the people who are in the night, on the nighttime side of the planet, they're looking at the moon and they might see a beautiful full moon or partial moon or No, it would be the full moon when it gets boom, boom, of course, duh. So, where is the delay here? The sun, there is nothing in between the sun and us. Nothing. Just the sun, us, and the moon. And what happens? We block out the whole of the shadow. Or we give the moon our shadow and totally block out the sun. And the sun, it's directly behind us. It's not a case of the shadow that is casting onto the moon of us is 8 minutes and 20 seconds old. The sun hasn't shifted when the shadow is being cast, has it? It's directly behind us. It's a straight line again. It's exactly the same, but in reverse. We're blocking the sun instead of the moon blocking the sun. Guys, we're on 11 minutes. Now, everybody can laugh. Ha ha ha. Common sense, common sense. Be very careful with that one, because a lot is riding on this, right? And common sense and logic are all over this thing, because finite light just does not work. It does not work. It cannot be finite light. Don't you understand this? Now, I will send out another message to Mr. Tyson and Mr. Cox, Mr. Green, and to Joe Rogan, to let him sink his teeth into it. See, I never know if it's social media that is blocking the messages. Oh no, let's suppress all this, we don't want this getting out. Or is it them, they're getting my video clip saying, hey, where's the answer? Where's the logical answer? But they're not answering, see, because I have, the odds are stacked against me, you know that. Highly stacked against me. But we're still firing out because it has to be done. Can you not see what a massive porcupine this is, right? So I will carry on, but this afternoon, 12:30, this afternoon, I am going to write, to do a personal one to each of them. To Joe Rogan, to Mr. Tyson, to Mr. Cox, and to Mr. Green. But not one and then just change the name. I'm going to personalise them. I'm going to, and Star Talk. Want Chucky involved. Chucky loves it, doesn't he? He likes to have a chuckle. Chuckle on this one, Chucky. How is finite light working, Chucky? How does it work in the solar eclipse? Why is the sun directly behind the moon as seen from the sweet spot on planet Earth in that sweet spot moment? How is the sun directly behind the moon if it took 8 minutes and 20 seconds for the photons to arrive at the moon? How come the sun is still directly behind it? There's a gap of 8 minutes and 20 seconds. The sun cannot be there, can it? It cannot launch the photons 8 minutes and 20 seconds ago and still be where it launched the photons 8 minutes and 20 seconds ago. That's a coincidence, or it's absolute light, isn't it? And there is no delay. So which one is it? A coincidence that the sun is always, every single time, directly behind the object that is casting its shadow? What do we reckon then? Is it a coincidence every single time? Or is the sun's light actually absolute? I will be back. I'm not going to let up. Social media sites, do me a favour and do your job. Could you make sure these questions get out, please, instead of suppressing them? Please? All right, what else? And the Egyptians did not build the pyramids. It's logistically impossible. It's a common sense issue as well. 2.3 million, 2.5 ton stones. 25,000 Egyptians, divide 2.3 million by the 25,000, 92 2.5 ton stones each. It's ridiculous. All right, 1447, we're coming up to 15, and that is a wrap, innit? That is a wrap.